Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Grue Rume. And today for the Grue Rume, we got a very special guest. We got the man himself, the Shape, Michael Myers, James Jude Courtney, and he's going to be on the Grue Rume to talk about Halloween and Halloween kills. And everyone knows we're making a Halloween ass, but we can't talk about that yet. But we will talk about Michael Myers, the Shape, and Halloween. James Jude Courtney. I am Rocky Cross. I am the host of Stutters. I am the host of the Grue Rume. Let's enjoy the song a little bit, and then we'll go straight in to James. Okay, welcome to Grue, and welcome back to the show. And thank you so much for taking time out and doing the show tonight.
Oh man, so happy to do this, and I'm glad we can finally get it together. It's been crazy times, man, but we got it.
Oh, definitely, yes, definitely. So, before we jump into Halloween and everything, just wanted to to ask you, like, there were I was reading something where when you were a kid, you said that you always would shoot films with like your parents and your family and stuff, and that's how you got involved with the films.
Oh yeah. In fact, hang on one second, man.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
yeah, this is the camera that I use. It's a late 1950s era
Oh my God! Wow.
Kodak tri lens camera. You had to load the film, then halfway through you had to reverse the film. It was all wind up, so you had to know how much, like you had to like really be aware of how much power you had before it just started to wind down. But my dad,
Wow.
I have six brothers, and my dad shot all of our football games with this. He shot, basketball games. I started making movies in fifth grade with this thing. So it
Oh
got a lot,
my
and
God!
I made
Wow.
movies with this camera all the way through college, man. And it just has such a great quality. It's not a cheap camera.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can see the way it looks like. I'm shocked that's still the same camera.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
it definitely lasted.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. I imagine at some point I'll make a film and I'll shoot something with this to implement into the film, just as an homage to my dad and all the great stuff that he shot. You know?
Wow, that's so
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So is that like when you started getting involved with like filmmaking and script writing and stuff like that?
Well, okay, so in fourth grade, I knew I was going to make films.
Oh,
And,
wow.
you know, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like I had certain epiphanies in fourth grade. I don't know why fourth grade, but I knew that, I mean, somehow I figured out reincarnation. I don't know where that came from. I mean, when I had that flash epiphany, I was sitting in the class right in the middle of the classroom, one back, the nuns talking about heaven and hell. And I started to raise my hand to say, hey, wait a minute. No, this is the way, and then I went, oh, this is so not worth getting paddled over. And I just put my hand back down and shut my mouth because I'd have gotten 10 swats for that one, man. That wouldn't have been well received at St. Mary's.
Oh no.
you know, So yeah, and so I just knew I was gonna make movies. I didn't think about it, like I didn't dream about it. I didn't have heroes who were filmmakers. I didn't put posters up. I just knew that was my profession. That's what I was going to do. And
Wow.
so picking up a camera in fifth grade is when I made my first project, and it just made sense to me. Every opportunity I had, I would make a film about something, and they were horrible. I mean, I was a kid. They were horrible. But and I think the funniest thing is I look back and I can remember some of those films, and young filmmakers fall in love with every inch, I mean every frame of what they shoot. Like young writers fall in love with every word they put on the paper, and it's like at a certain point you realize that less is more. So what took you half an hour to shoot, you're going to use 3 seconds of, but it's going to be a bitch in 3 seconds. But it takes time to evolve.
Oh wow.
But then you get to and good God, man, on Halloween when you look at the photography on these films.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's like it's stuff from another planet, man. I mean, I'm so stoked to. And when Halloween Kills come out, dude, you're gonna.
Oh my God, I'm looking forward to that so much. Like when they aired the trailer for the first time, and I watched the trailer, and I was glued from like start of the trailer until the end. I mean, like basically in this 2-3 minute trailer, you see Michael Myers. Well, you see him killing like everybody in the trailer.
Oh, dude, it's only the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I know some of the fans will go, "Why'd you show so much? Dude, he didn't show so much. That's the point." The point is there's a lot more going on in that movie than
Oh my God.
you know what I mean, than what we're showing. So I think it's just to give people the idea that this is like the ante has been upped on this sequel. Like, everything about it has gotten just deeper and richer and more powerful. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I was hooked from the trailer. Like the trailer shows you how Michael Myers gets out of the fire, and man, he brutalizes those firefighters.
Poor saps. I like firefighters. You know what I mean? In my real life, I love firefighters. They have servants' hearts, man. They're courageous men and women who do, courageous things and save lives and save property. But hey, man, when Michael Myers is possessing me, all bets are off.
That's yeah. I also read you do stunt work. When did you start doing the stunts?
Well, I didn't intend to do stunts. I went out. I had gone to. I did a play called Requiem for Heavyweight, and I met a coach on that play who was a lecturer and teacher at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. And so and needless to say, he and Stella Adler, his name was Ron Ray, Stella Adler and he were the two, and Lance Lindsay. But Ron was an incredible acting coach, and so when we were working on stuff, and he kind of singled me out and went, "Wow, you got some talent here. Let me help you out." And well, he got me an audition for Conan the Barbarian, The Adventures of Conan at Universal Studios. And I started martial arts in 7th grade because I was getting my ass kicked because I was getting picked on. I was a small kid. I was a third from small kid. My dad told me I'd be a big man someday, but that didn't help in 7th and 8th grade. And so started martial arts, and so it was natural for me. Like handling weapons was kind of natural. I had a incredibly good first martial arts instructor, and I boxed in college, and so it was. I didn't really think about this, but Ron got me an audition for The Adventures of Conan, which was a live show at the Universal Studios tour. It was an amazing, amazing show.
Wow.
But in that show, I handled double swords, so I did a lot of fancy sword work, and I did a 20-foot high fall. And so I had to go learn to do the high fall. My friend Alex Daniels, who also went to the University of South Carolina with me, he was a cheerleader, a gymnast, and he when I had to learn to do the high fall, that's the one thing I was like, nah, I don't think so, man. I'd fallen off a slide when I was a kid. I was like, that didn't feel too good. I'll pass on that. I'll crash cars. I'll fight. I'm not. And he's like, no, dude, you're gonna learn how to do this. So we went to a place where they train Circus of the Stars, Bob Yurka's place, and he taught me how to do high falls off of a trapeze. But I was white knuckling, man. 10 feet. I was 15 feet white knuckling. But by the end of it, he had me going off 70 feet. And I was like, it was nothing. Just flying off and boom, landing in a bag. It was awesome. So the stunt stuff actually has been great. Like most guys stopped being actor stuntmen because back in the day, back in the 80s and the 90s, and even in the 2000s, people would look at you and go, well, he's a stuntman who can say a few lines, or he's an actor that can throw a few punches. Mm-hmm. They didn't, somehow the industry couldn't understand that you might be a really good actor and a really good stuntman. You know what I mean? It just somehow, and so a lot of my friends, they stopped acting and focused completely on stunts. Alex Daniels did that. Wow. There's a bunch of guys who did that, and Alex is a brilliant actor, brilliant singer. But I kept doing this because I knew that I was going to eventually be making my own movies. I was focused on getting my own films made. And it really did help me because having the physical skills to be able to do a high fall, for instance, mm-hmm. and be able to do an Australian accent or be able to do, all these different things that not a lot of guys could do. And so it kept me working, kept me working. I had fun. Never had a bad experience on a film or a TV show, never, not once. So, and all of that brought me to this point where the skill set necessary to play Michael Myers the way I played him was this has been decades in building, decades of deep introspection, psychological, emotional work, spiritual work, plant medicine in South America and Africa, and with Native Americans in North America. I mean, a lot of shamanic journeys, and spent a lot of time with two friends of mine. One was Maury Rapkin, who was one of the first licensed psychologists in the state of California. Very, very close dear friend. He did LSD in the 1950s with Aldous Huxley and Cary Grant to the UCLA studies. Okay. And then there was another former chief of staff of Cedars-Sinai Psych Ward, psychiatric ward, Alan Blank, and who's just recently passed. He and I were very good friends, and we did a lot of plant medicine together, but with the idea of, exploring the human condition, the human consciousness. And so we'd have various people around. We'd have these really deep discussions and, explorations. So adding all these things up, and then the physical skills, from just thousands and thousands of fights and high falls and stuff. Yeah. That sort of just honed me to create the space to allow the shape to inhabit a body and then direct the way it moves,
Oh, wow. Damn. That's really awesome. And like, when did your love for horror films start?
Man, so I grew up, watching a black and white TV. So my dad was like 6'5", 250, had these big, big guns. And so he used to we sit in front of the couch, not on the couch, but in front of the couch. He put his arms out like this, and we kind of crowd in with him. And on Friday nights, there was a show called Gallardi, and Saturday nights, there was always horror films on Friday nights. And so we watched the classic stuff. That's what I grew up on, the Lon Chaney stuff, the stuff, these classic great films. And to this day, Frankenstein is one of my favorite films. It's
sweet.
I was just so heartbroken for Frankenstein, for the creation for the monster.
Yes, exactly.
Oh God, I so identified with him, and I think so many of us do have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in me. I never thought that I would be playing an iconic horror character,
Right,
you
right.
know? But then what do we know? You know what I mean? Life comes along, but what do we know? You know, we wake up someday and there's somebody in our life that we didn't know before, and things change. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure when you were laying there with your family and watching classic horror films, and fast forward years later, and you're playing one of the biggest horror icons in the horror world, the Shape.
Well, it's you just jogged my memory. So like around eighth grade or so, I tried to put together a bunch of kids in school to make movies together. And so and really what I wanted was bodies. You know what I mean? And so we had a meeting, and the school had to have there had to be a person, like an adult monitor if it was going to be a club. And so one of the guys' moms came in, and we were sitting around tossing around ideas. And I was thinking about this, black mass with ritual sacrifice, blood, and they're talking about all these mundane, stupid ideas, and I've come up with my idea, and they looked at me like I had three heads, and I'm like, oh, this is not gonna work. I think we're on different planes here, man. I might just be a little too weird for you guys,
Nice.
which I'm sure I was.
And I was looking through like your your IMDb, and I didn't even know that I saw you were on Buffy.
Yeah. And not too dissimilar a process for the character that I played on Buffy, because it's a the Kinderstone is an entity that kills children in the dreams, in their dream state, in their fever state, in their fever dreams, and I had studied cat movement to play that character.
Oh,
And when David Gordon Green talked to me about this character, David didn't give me any direction on movement or anything other than he wanted me to move very cat-like.
oh
And
wow.
when we had that conversation, literally he called me at my house. I was like, well, David, my cat Parsifal's sitting in my lap right now. He's a perfect hunting, killing machine. You can't, there's no better hunter killer on the planet than a cat,
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
so the Buffy experience was almost like it was a precursor to playing the Shape. It
Oh,
was very, very similar, a lot of similarities in the two.
damn, nice. It's funny, but I used to be like a huge fan of that show, that series, and Sarah Michelle Gellar looks almost exactly the same. It's crazy.
She's an amazing woman. I mean, and it's kind of interesting. Just like, I mean, I would say she's very similar to Jamie Lee Curtis. Like,
Yes.
really self-possessed, self-deprecating, doesn't take herself too seriously, consummate professional, incredibly generous. I mean, the superlatives can go on and on and on and on. I mean, but those are two very empowered women, and that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I mean, I know you talk talked about this a lot, but like, when did you find out you first had the role for Michael Myers, the Shape, for Halloween?
Well, when I got the call from the stunt coordinator, Ron Hutchinson, I had moved back to South Carolina from California. I've lived in California like 35 years, and I was done. I mean, I came back here. I decided that I'm only going to work when someone calls me and asks me to, and that was certainly in the realm of possibility, because 80% of the work I've gotten has been somebody calling me asking me to do something. But other than that, I was just focused on my writing and getting a film produced, and so I get a call from Ron. He goes, "Hey man, we're doing another Halloween," and I was like, "Awesome, man, you're gonna have a blast." He goes, "Yeah, well," so I read the script, and I called David Green and Malika Akkad, and I said, "You guys, the script is different than any other Halloween. I mean, you guys,
Hmm.
you need an actor, or you need someone who has really deep acting chops and who's a really good stuntman. And I mean, so he was really clear about what he, you know, what was required to play this character with this script. And David Gordon Green was like, well, he needs to be 6'3", 200 pounds, and he's got to be in his 60s. Do you know anybody? And so Ron thought about it and was like, yeah, I know one guy. And so when I went down to meet them in Charleston, which is where Rough House is, where Danny and David McBride and those guys are, Danny McBride and David Green. They put me on tape. I was a casting director. They put me on tape. They had me move. They talked to me about the psychology of killing and all this kind of stuff, which kind of freaked them out because I talked about how sexual killing is, and it's incredibly sexual. I mean, you know, men in battle have multiple orgasms during firefights. I mean, killing is. I mean, look at Ted Bundy. I mean, you know, like there's a direct correlation between sexuality and this kind of murder and mayhem. And so that kind of freaked out the casting director a little bit.
Sure it did.
You know, I got out into the parking lot. I wasn't even out of the parking lot yet in my little truck, and I get a call from Blumhouse, and they said, "Are you available?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so then I didn't get to the freeway, and they call me again. They go, "Hey, so David Green wants to meet you. Would you be willing to come back?" And like, yeah. So went back, met everybody, and then I didn't hear anything. And they were supposed to shoot in October, and I didn't hear anything. And I was like, okay, you know, I let it go, man. I'm just not attached to things the way I used to be, as you know, and I've learned that the universe brings to me exactly what is mine. If I'm in the right place, if I'm prepared, if I have integrity and honor, then everything that's mine comes to me, and what doesn't come to me isn't mine, and I don't want it anyhow. You know what I mean? So, and sure enough, I was just hanging out in December, they gave me a call and said, "Hey, so you're the guy, and we're going to start in January. You ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." Yeah. But see, by that time, I'd already captured the essence of the character. I had no work. I mean, all the work had been done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all intuitive. But again, it's all the building of physical movement, of psychological and emotional depth, you know, spiritual exploration, you know, interdimensional travel with shaman. I mean, all those things came together to allow me to, you know, do something well enough that a few people like it, you know, and I certainly had a blast doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, whatever you did for Michael Myers worked, because that first Halloween movie, when you put that mask on and become the Shape, just walking through the streets, going in people's houses, banging them in the head with hammers, and like, it was brutal, and I loved it. Like your Michael Myers was absolutely brutal.
Thank you. And I think I'm allowed to say this, that Halloween Kills is going to be even more brutal. I mean, it's brutal with a capital B, man. And it took me months to heal from that one. I mean, I physically, that was an ass kicking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which is awesome. You know, I mean, that's what you sign up for. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
good stuff.
You know, from the first Halloween, like one of my best scenes, and they actually show it when Michael stomps his shrink and his head explodes like all over the street.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
You know what I love is that Danny McBride, David Gordon Green, and Jeff Fradley wrote in that screen for that scene in the screenplay. The direction actually says he shit brains. So that was the visual image. It was like of James shitting his brains out, shitting brains.
And you do all your own stunts for both films, right? That when you're playing Michael, like you do like all the stunts for him.
Well, there's one thing I did not do in Halloween 2018, which was the stair roll.
Okay.
And they had a guy there. And the thing is, you know, it was kind of a couple of things. Like, one, I can do a stair fall. I've done a bunch of them. But the thing about stair falls is you're going to get a cherry bruise somewhere. Mm-hmm. You're going to catch your elbow. You're going to catch something that's not covered or not protected. You know, it's going to hurt. It's definitely going to hurt. Stair falls hurt. And I was like, you know, I'm thinking like, at this point, like I was 62 years old, and I'm like, I'm 62 years old. This 30-year-old guy here is chomping at the bit to get something done. He needs to make some money anyhow.
True.
If he makes a stair fall, he's going to get a stud adjustment. So I was like, oh, give it to him, man. Let him do it. I don't care. And that's the only thing I got doubled on there. And
Okay.
then there's one thing in Kills. I can't tell you the scene yet, but and that was a very simple jump that very easily could have sprained a knee or an ankle.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, and that was it was just because of the height of it. I mean, it's because of the height involved. And again, the stunt double was there and just so wanted to be a part of the movie. And it was really the only chance he's going to get, because I do everything else. And so I was like, yeah, man, let him jump on board, man. Let him earn his keep. So
Yeah, there you go.
I don't want to be stingy, but the other side of it is I learned this actually when I did Buffy, because I had worked on the way that character moves, and the fighting style was very cat-like. And they brought in a guy to stunt double me, and the guy on the stunt coordinator on Buffy didn't know me. He didn't know me, had never worked with me. So he didn't know how well I could move or how good I could, and so I was like, look, let me do this fight. And Sarah Gellar and I did a lot of fighting together, but then he came in with the stunt doubles and did a bunch of, and it was actually Ron Hutchinson's daughter who doubled Sarah on Buffy. But the guy, super sweet guy, guy my size. I mean, he's a big dude. And, but I sat down with him and said, okay, this is the way this character moves, and this is the way. But when it came down to the fighting style, he didn't quite grasp that. So he was probably a good stuntman, but he wasn't an actor. He didn't know how to embody movement or to embody a feeling that drives your body a certain way. So he fought like a big man. It was kind of like a super heavyweight boxer.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's not the way my body moves. So they ended up cutting out a lot of that fight and only kept the stuff where Sarah and I were fighting.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah. So if the coordinator had trusted me, then we would have gotten a lot even better stuff. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But I mean, I made up for it in Halloween. I love it. I love the fighting. I love that bathroom scene. And
Yes.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Nothing like a good ass kicking, man. Yeah. And both those, Bob and Rand, both fought like Hellcats, man. I mean, that was brutal. That was a brutal day. It was so fun, so much fun.
Yeah, that was a brutal scene. I mean, hey, don't bring the mask to the psych ward.
I know it's a stupid move, but thank God, man, because it helped me get out. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And look, since you do stunt work, were you the one that showed Jamie Lee Curtis? Did you go over with her the fight scenes and stuff between Laurie and Michael?
Well, we rehearsed that. Yeah, absolutely. She is an incredible athlete. She's an incredible athlete. She's in great shape. She is, she's tough as nails. She is, so there's a scene that we didn't use in a fight. And this is the first time that she and I actually had a big fight scene, and we didn't actually, this fight scene didn't make it to the final cut. We shot another ending. So, but in that, when we're just starting to work out, she didn't want to be padded up. She didn't want someone doubling her. She wanted to do it herself. And usually that's like, oh God, another actor that thinks they can fight, because so few people really, I mean, you've got to be exacting. It's, people can get hurt, people can die. So, but there's a scene where there's a take where in that fight where I had a knife, sort of facing down like this, and holding the knife, and she swings with the butt end of a rifle, and she's supposed to take the knife out of my hand, and so my hand is out there, and I'm going, oh shit, this is a broken hand. That's what this is. This is a freaking broken hand. Boom, she nails the knife. We did 30 takes. She hit the knife every single time.
Oh my God!
Swung the butt of that rifle like a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Full on swing, man. Boom! Each time, just took that knife right out of my hand. So she's badass, man. She's badass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, just like that first film, it was like everything was reversed a little bit, like with Jamie falling out of the window. I mean, with Laurie falling out of the window, and Laurie's the one that comes out of the closet and stabs Michael. Like it was crazy. It was like everything was reversed from the first Halloween in 78?
Yeah, 78. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can, there's going to be more of those Easter eggs in Halloween Kills. I mean, you know, David and Danny and those guys they're smart cookies, man. They're passionate about the entire Halloween series, about especially the original Halloween. So, you know, for them putting these little Easter eggs in, you know, and all these homages that actually tie into the storyline they've created. I mean, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Oh,
This is so
definitely.
much fun to work on. I mean, films that have layers and layers and layers, you know, I mean, yeah, the best experience I've ever had in my life.
Nice, nice. And you know, I have to ask you, like, the first time you ever put on that mask, the white mask, the William Shatner face,
Mhm.
like, what was like your thought, like the first time you ever put Michael Myers mask on?
Well, okay, so the first time I put any mask on was when I was in a wardrobe, when they were fitting me for, you know, I was down in Charleston. Ryan Turek came in and had one of the original type masks. It was
Nice.
the original because that disappeared, but you know, like one of the original types. So he said, "Hey, I mean, just put this on and let's kind of get a feel of what this is going to look like with costume and everything." So I put that on, but that didn't do anything to me. You know what I mean? That was, I mean, I wasn't in character. I'm just doing wardrobe.
Yeah.
But the night before we started shooting, Chris Nelson flies in. He's got this beautiful leather Halliburton, you know, with two masks in it, and it's almost like something out of the Exorcist. You know what I mean? Like walking in. And so we're in the neighborhood we did that long tracking shot, and Chris, you know, hey, Chris is here, Chris is here. So all of a sudden we all go to the back room of one of the houses so no one else can see us. So it's like Ryan Turek and Jeff and Danny McBride and David Green and Ron, the stunt coordinator, and you know, I think a few other, Chris, a few other people. So he pulls out a mask, and I'm standing there in the doorway, and Chris, because the mask really, I need help. I can't put it on. Like Chris puts it on for me.
Okay.
And Chris takes it off for me. It fits so tight to my face. It's so much a part of me that was made to my face.
Oh, wow.
That whole mask was molded to me. And
Wow.
so so when Chris put the mask on me, all of a sudden there was this collective guttural, like, oh, like everybody in the room just went, oh. And for me, it was like two circuits, like going, like all of a sudden, boom, like the circuit was made. It was deep and powerful because I already done the inner work to know what this character was going to feel like. You know what I mean? And when I put that mask on, dude, it was like, like some magic ring, yeah, it did. It's just like it lit up, man. It was cool. It was amazing.
Wow, nice, nice. And I also saw like the Nick Castle was on set too for the first Halloween film, and from what I read, they say he did one of the scenes, right?
Yeah, he was in the scene in 2018 where Laurie pulls up and sees the shape up in the window.
Oh, okay.
That's him
Okay.
standing in the window. But in that exact same scene, when she shoots the mirror out, that's me in the mirror. Because and Nick and I talked about this, like, because they really didn't know whether they were going to use them. They knew they were just going to use them in one scene, and they really didn't know. And then David finally figured out, yeah, this is the scene we can do it in. And so it made perfect sense because up in the window you can't tell he's 5'10", I'm 6'3".
Exactly.
But there's no reference there to height. And then as far as looking in the mirror and being shot, the special effects guy, Heath, was right behind me with a weapon and a projectile. So the projectile was going to, was a foot behind me, and it was going to go within 6 inches of my head and break the mirror. So, you're not going to put Nick Castle there to do that. I mean, but that's the kind of shit I live for. You know what I mean? I like being close to that proximity to danger and death. And, you know, I mean, Heath is one of the best special effects guys in the business, if not the. I mean, the guy's amazing. But
Yes.
still, stuff can go crazy, you know. So we inhabited that scene, and that's what Nick Castle refers to now as the passing of the torch. You know, the passing of the baton. Like he passed from 1978 to 2018. He handed me that baton, and I got to run with it.
Wow.
And he will be in one scene in Halloween Kills as well.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And like just like being on set with like the guy who started like Halloween, the guy who played the Shape. I mean, did Nick like talk to you in the you know like the movement of Michael and stuff, because you made your own Michael, but like did he give you pointers or anything?
No, he didn't come in until like the third week. So
Oh, okay.
I already had 2 weeks under my belt. We
Okay,
never even
okay.
talked. We never talked about the character.
Gotcha.
We immediately became really good friends, like awesome friends. And we, you know, I'm gonna see him this weekend in Chicago, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, we're really good friends. I mean, you know, we hang out, we talk on the phone, like, you know, like give each other a call and say, hey man, what's going on? You know, and yeah, so it's, I mean, he's such a high creative, you know, and he's such a and he created this character so intuitively, you know. And so that's pretty much what I let drive, you know, my embracing of what he created, and then allowing it to work through my, you know, filter through my body and my being.
Okay.
Yeah. It's,
And like I said, for like the first Halloween film, there were so many great kills, and you portraying the Shape and like just brutal kills, and you could see like the size of Michael, the strength of Michael. And what Michael kill in the first Halloween was your best, you think?
I think I have certain favorites for different reasons. You know, I think
Okay.
that the kill in the window, you know, is the way I would probably do it. Just really fast, sleek, in and out, unseen, you know, quiet, stealth.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I like it because it was really efficient. You know, being an efficient killer is really, really important, you know. But I also, I love the bathroom scene because it was just so much fun to shoot. It was so exacting, and people don't realize how, you know, like the stunt coordinator came over to me before we started all the fight stuff, and we were just actually rehearsing, and he's like, okay man, keep these guys safe. You know? And that's my job, because like, for instance, when I'm, you know, killing, you know, I'm strangling with the wind chimes, and this happens with actors a lot. Actors will just go crazy, you know, playing out their role, which is what they do. But oftentimes they will lose sight of the camera and you know, the parameters of the shot. But that's something a stunt person is really, really acutely aware of, because more than just getting the shot, you're usually dealing with, you know, speeding cars or horses or guys with weapons in their hands or falling, or something like that. So for us, it's a game of fractions of inches. So we're very used to being very mindful of where everything is, where our marks are, what we need to hit, where the lens is. And so in cases like that, keeping an actor in frame while you're you know, 100% involved in killing. And so for me, that just tests my technical skills, and all the while not having to leave the realm of the spiritual experience of playing the character, playing Michael Myers.
Nice. Right. And like another thing I wanted to ask you, because there's some horror fans that like it, some horror fans that don't. What did you think of this film dropping that Michael and Laurie are brother and sister?
I agree with that. I agree with treating everything. You know, David and I had talked about this. I agreed with their perspective of treating everything after 1978 as urban myth.
Yeah.
Everything else is urban myth. We're going from 1978 to 2018 and nothing else exists. And I agree with that. It had to be clean.
Yeah,
It had to be
exactly.
clean, you know? So I think it did a nice job of sort of explaining that. Yeah.
Sweet, nice. And like when the first time you ever after you got done shooting the film and you go and see like a screening and stuff, like the first time you see yourself on screen as the Shape, as Michael, and you hear the Halloween theme song playing, like what like thoughts did you have?
Dude, I don't like watching myself.
Oh, really?
I mean, I went, the first time I saw it was at the premiere.
Okay.
And I, uh, I mean, I had a blast on the red carpet. Nick and I walked the red carpet together. We had the Nick and Jim show. We had a blast talking to reporters, and you know, it was so much fun. But going inside, and my date got caught in an airport in Bangkok, and she couldn't make it there.
Oh
So
no.
there by myself, and you know, instead of having this beautiful German movie star on my arm, I had, you know, myself to deal with, and dude, I was sweating bullets. I just don't like watching myself. In fact, I went down before they cut Halloween Kills. I went down to Charleston, hung out with David, and we all went in and watched. We're looking at various scenes and talking about certain things, you know,
Mhm.
what we wanted to do, what I thought or what they thought, and you know, I was perfectly calm until then, and then I had to watch myself. Then I relaxed because as soon as it became about business, you know, about like, what do you think of this, or what do you think of this, or should we add one more of this, and then all of a sudden it became creative, and then I'm out of my body, I'm in my element and away from me, you know.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going. I mean, I have to get used to this. I probably 80% of the work I've done in my life I've never seen.
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
just I don't. That's not why I do it.
And like when you first got the script for Halloween Kills, like what did what did you think of the script? Like did you look at the script and say, "Wow, this is definitely great. Like this is something the fans are definitely going to love to see from what happens in the first film until now."
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, but I knew after knowing, you know, David, especially David Green, but knowing him and Danny McBride and Jeff, I knew, you know, I knew the next script was going to be, I mean, I knew that basically what they did was they wrote this, the Kill script and the 18 script and the Kill script are essentially the same screenplay. It's the same night, you know? So it's just this continuation. So instead of being like a, you know, an hour and a half, you know, an hour and 40-minute movie, it's really a 3 hour and, you know, 3 hour, 3.5 hour movie.
That's true. Yeah.
It's kind of cut in half, you know what I mean? So, so I mean, it's a perfect sequel to 2018, I think.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like I said, from what I saw from the trailer, it definitely looks like it's going to be just as good or better than Halloween.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. That's all I'll say about
And was there any stunt in this film that you really had to push yourself hard to do
that. In 20, I mean, Kills.
in Halloween Kills? Yeah.
There was one. There's one particular scene that was just really difficult to shoot because by a certain point, I'd gotten beaten up pretty badly, and my left knee was just really, really swollen. And you know, I mean, but I had to kneel on that knee and fight for
Ooh.
about 8 hours, you know, just
Oh.
continuously, you know, I mean, just, and so it was, yeah, I saw that kind of sucked, but you know,
Oh
that's
my
part of the
gosh.
game, man.
Yeah.
That's part of the game. It's like, well, that's, again, that's what people don't realize is they'll see, you know, these snap cuts of this and this and this, and they don't realize that just that 5 seconds there took all freaking day long, all day long. And, you know, and it's, and you, unless you do it, you wouldn't understand the physical demands for everybody, not just for the stunt performer or the actor, but everybody there. I mean, the physical demands of these long, brutal days is man, it's why these films are so worth. I mean, it's like anything else, man. You invest yourself 100% in something that you love, and you know, you suck up the pain, and it's all part of it.
Yeah. Nice. And going back to like the trailer for Halloween Kills, like what did you like most about the trailer? I mean, I know you can't really talk about Halloween Kills yet, like any of the scenes or anything. So like, what did you like most about the trailer?
Um, well, the thing I liked about it is for me, is remembering what was going on when we were doing the things that I saw, you know, and just like the fire gag at the end of 2018, coming out of that flaming house, you know, in that flaming in the burning room. I mean, dude, that was freaking hot. I mean, it
Oh,
was
I'm
hot.
sure it
You know,
was.
I'm wearing like gelled up fire suits and, you know, all this kind of, and I'm still getting bit like crazy. It's so hot. I mean, I had to come through the house with my eyes closed because if I'd opened them, the eyeballs would have been just burnt.
Oh
And
my God.
so I had to have every step like rehearsed to know exactly where it was. I mean, and then when I got out of the porch, there's all that water, and I mean, it's pretty. I mean, and then when you see, so it just made me remember all the things that we did and all the hard work we put in. And there's a lot of really good stuntmen, really good actors, of course, and it was, yeah. So it just brought me back. It made me happy, you know, and it makes me happy that the fans are happy. I mean, the fans seem to be really, you know, really have enjoyed the trailers. And
Oh, definitely. Yes, definitely. It was great. And like I said, just watching all the kills that happens in the trailer is just like, wow.
it's tip of the iceberg, man. So let's do one more question, man. I'm going to jump out of here.
Definitely, definitely. What since you're playing Michael and the Shape in Halloween and Halloween Kills, like a question I always ask everybody is, what are your favorite horror movies to watch?
Hmm. Well, I think, let me characterize it this way. I think other than Michael Myers, if someone said, you know, you could go back and make any one of these movies and play that character, I would have chosen Freddy Krueger.
Really?
Yeah, and I think, because I think Robert Englund, I think what he did with that character was so unique. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
And and I think, a character like that offers the opportunity for you know, really unique, movement and really unique, attitudes and spiritual perspectives. And um, but yeah, but then there's a part of me also that would love to have been alive in the 1930s, you know,
Oh wow.
and made one of those wonderful old Universal films. You know,
Yes.
I that would have been a dream come true. You know, so that's
Okay.
my story. I'm sticking to it, man.
Okay, here you go. And real fast, where can fans find you at, like with your socials and all that?
That's James Jude Courtney on Instagram and Twitter. JamesJudeCourtney.com is the website, and yeah, you know, I'm easy to find.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you again for doing this, and I know you got a lot of plans for the rest of the night and for the rest of the week. And thanks again for coming out, and everyone, go see Halloween Kills.
Oh man, you're gonna love it. I'm telling you. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Really enjoyed it.
buddy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Much
All
love.
right. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.